here is the cease and desist notice that Erica Kurt and Turning Point have sent to Project Constitution, as well as, I believe, Ian Carroll. I was told Candace Owens also got one, but here we know for a fact that Colin Campbell, who is Project Constitution, this is the one that he was filed with. And I just I read over it. I felt like I understood it, but having you on here is just the chef's kiss. So real quick, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you read and what your thoughts were on it?
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for sending me the letter. I actually logged on to the, X, and I found the particular X post, I guess you would call it. And, I saw it. And really what this letter is, it's to an individual named Campbell. That's his last name. It says Mr. Campbell at the top. You operate an account named Project Constitution. And then it goes on to state that, using this account, you're basically alleging that Erica Kirk and TPUSA are involved in criminal conduct. Now, the different allegations of criminal conduct here appear to be that, they're suggesting that Erica Kirk and TPUSA members were involved in the death of Charlie Kirk, pretty closely in such a way that, they should be prosecuted for it. So, what Campbell is doing is he's alleging that they have committed a crime, and that crime is of moral turpitude as well, because it's alleging a person's a murderer, and nobody wants to be alleged that. That's an awful reputational harm to have. One of the interesting things when we're dealing with defamation in a case like this is, since this does allege criminal conduct, and, serious criminal conduct at that, it's going to fall under a special type of defamation, which is defamation per se. Now, with defamation per se, that just means it's a special type of statement, and here the special type is criminal conduct, where damages are presumed. So the only thing that the plaintiff would have to do in a case like this is show that the statement, was really said, published, and things of that nature. But with damages, Erica Kirk does not have to bring in a bunch of evidence that here's the way the statement hurt me, here's the financial loss I have. None of that's required, because when we're dealing with defamation per se, damages are presumed based on the nature of the statement. And so, the nature of the statement here is very serious.
So let me jump in. Let me just give an example to make sure I understand correctly. So if I said that Nick is a terrible driver, he blows red lights, he blazes through walkways, and I really believe that he hit a chipmunk last Tuesday, and that is a terrible thing that I've said about you, that would be the defamation. Am I correct?
That's actually kind of interesting. So I wouldn't say that necessarily rises to it. And here's maybe the arguments I would give why.
I didn't make it worse. I didn't make you a worser guy.
Yeah, like, I'm just running red lights, it seems like.
No, Nick is living Grand Theft Auto in real life. There we go. Like he's robbing people, he's running over little old ladies, he's doing shootouts, he's getting chased by the cops.
So
there we go.
Yeah, the important legal element here is serious criminal offense. It's not just, unserious one. If I'm just running red lights and, running stop signs, I don't know if that qualifies as serious, like it's reckless. But, if you're saying that I'm, robbing people, killing people, things of that nature, now that's crossing a line into a serious criminal accusation, and you're attributing it to me, and there's no question about who you're attributing this conduct to. That's when, defamation per se is going to kick in. And again, that per se, those are the key words that indicate reputational damages are presumed based on the nature of the statement.
Because your reputation is damaged by me saying and publishing that Nick Brooks is living Grand Theft Auto. He's out here doing that. So that ruins your reputation by the fact that I said it. And I say, like, he's having shootouts, he's running over little old ladies, he's robbing people, stealing cars, all that kind of stuff like that. Those bad things are so egregious that it's assumed that it ruins your reputation.
Oh yeah, and the way if I were trying to object on any ground, the only thing I would say is if you made a public statement that said Nick Brooks lives his life on Grand Theft Auto mode, that's not enough. That's vague. Right. I don't know what that means. I mean, I could just be running red lights if you've ever played the video game. There's all the, but yeah, like if you were saying that on X date, as I was driving this vehicle, I ran into this lady, and there was evidence that, this lady actually was killed, and maybe nobody found who did it or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now that's getting into a little bit more concrete conduct. We have dates, names, specific victims, for example. And so that's where, defamation per se is going to get more triggered, not just, general allegations of like a criminal nature. He's
like that.
Something.
No, I like it. And even in the letter, there's some very specific dates. They say like on March 5th, you posted this. On March 13th, you posted this. Exactly. So, okay, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so now they file this against them. And what happens next? Or what should happen in a perfect world?
Okay, yeah. So one of the things that I kind of also read as I was reading it is if you look at the recipient's address, it's in Maryland. And so obviously Maryland law would apply. I would imagine that they would file this in Maryland because, I guess this is where Campbell is posting, this Project Constitution post from. But,
okay.
Really, in a perfect world, what should happen is this. Mr. Campbell needs to recognize. I don't think Mr. Campbell understands the law. I don't represent Mr. Campbell. Don't take any legal advice, full disclosure to get that out of the way. But, ultimately, probably, what I think's going on is Mr. Campbell just doesn't know the law. He sees people talking about criminal conduct, finds that it gets him a ton of views when he posts about it. And so really that's what's going on, is to get traffic towards his own page. He's going to allege salacious criminal activity of a very famous public figure, Erica Kirk. And, where Erica Kirk just, she's got money, just pay a lawyer and get a cease and desist letter sent out to this individual to say, hey, here's what you're doing that violates the law, and you need to stop. And I think that's actually a very reasonable approach. Erica Kirk's not sued him. She has the right to sue him right now. It's already, hey, it's done. Clap your hands. It's over. Like, she has a right, but she's not doing it. So, we maybe need to give Erica Kirk a little bit of grace in that sense, where she does have presumably a lawsuit, I would suppose, at this point right now. She's given a cease and desist to say, hey, stop, or I'm going to continue. I'm going to do something about this. So we'll see if the other guy heeds the warning and actually does stop. If he doesn't stop, Erica Kirk might actually go on to file this particular lawsuit. We don't know. And then the only other thing that I would point out as well is, this Project Constitution, these people are oxymoronic. I mean, they talk about having constitutional values related to the First Amendment. And as we've discussed in a previous episode between us, hey, I'm a lawyer. I love the First Amendment. I've taken First Amendment law. I want the people that even disagree with me politically to say whatever they want about me. But you can't use the First Amendment as this wrongful defense to insult a woman as a criminal conduct. Like, the First Amendment has limits, and one of those limits is defamation. And defamation per se. And this is well established by courts. So, and guess what? These courts interpret the Constitution. So Campbell and Project Constitution and Candace Owens or whoever else has these views and they don't like this cease and desist, they don't like these letters, they need to go take that up in court or go run for their legislatures and go win an election, because they can't just post and then cry about it and claim victimhood.
Right. No, I got you. So there was a big question. If you look on the X, everybody is saying, good, we want you to sue him because we get discovery. And I know they're not talking about the Starship Discovery from this Star Trek. They're talking about discovery. But as far as I know from you, the last time we talked, when we were talking about the Macron case, which, by the way, is still in limbo, by the way.
Yeah.
What I learned from you is you don't just get carte blanche discovery. I don't just get to say, hey, I want to know all this stuff about Nick. I want to know his third grade spelling test. We want to look in his tidy whitey's drawer. We want to see in his glove box. We want to know. You don't get to do discovery. Is not just this broad open field. If I understood you correctly. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't want you going through my tidy whitey underwear drawer.
We're gonna let you have you can keep your secret is safe with us because it will never know.
Yeah, but hey, exactly. But no, discovery is very broad. You can do a lot in discovery with getting evidence. Now, here's the issue. Campbell's, he's talking up a storm like, oh, I can't wait. And other people, I can't wait to go to discovery. We're going to find, they think they're going to find evidence of her, involved in a crime. Good luck. It's so ridiculous. I mean, find a lawyer that's going to back you up on that. And I'd like to see where he got his license from.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see that really kind of flying. And then two, just consider this. Erica Kirk has millions of dollars. She is a
Mhm.
rich woman. She can afford legal bills. She can afford discovery. She will put up every bit of a fight to drag her feet as much as possible, whatever Campbell or who anyone else puts her through in discovery, motions for protective orders, objecting to discovery and just not providing answers, and then forcing Campbell to file his own motions. And guess what? Campbell probably doesn't have the money to be doing this. He talks a big game, but the legal fees are going to come and he's not going to be able to write that check. And he can talk it up, mouth off all he wants. But when the legal fees come in discovery, he's going to learn a quick lesson. And what's he going to do? Get on his little social media page, cry about victimhood and how there's no First Amendment, probably blame Israel for something for good Lord knows reason. And it's just ridiculous with some of these people. They talk about Constitution, like go win in the courts, which go win in the courts, which are authorized by our Constitution. Like it's just this circular logic of victimhood game you can't get these people out of.
No, I agree. And I find it interesting because that's all they keep talking about. So, and somebody just said like discovery is both ways, right? If I were suing you, I would have an opportunity to ask for discovery, and you would conversely have an opportunity to ask for discovery of certain things that were within the scope. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So, but again, it's not just an open field of opportunity. It's like a smorgasbord.
Yes.
It's not golden corral of Nick's life. No, but it is a.
If I may, just to clarify,
Yeah,
typically, now I'm not sure of how Maryland words it. It's probably very similar to California, but the scope of discovery means that you're entitled to all information that, could uncover additional discoverable information. But generally, it has to be sufficiently related to the claims and defenses. And so here, if we're dealing with reputational harm, if Campbell tries to draw, I mean, you can get creative, right? Think of your own discovery request. Say, hey, give me all the communications that you had from your teenage years on your cell phone. A, those communications are probably gone. B, how does this even relate to the claims at issue or the defenses? So there is a scope of discovery where, even though it's extremely broad and judges are incredibly liberal in granting different discovery motions, so that should be accounted for. But yeah, to think that you're just going to get anything under the sun based on the broad scope of discovery, I don't see that happening. Now, I would want to, like I said, we'd have to evaluate the scope of discovery in Maryland, but I don't believe it's going to provide background into these unbelievable things that maybe he thinks it does. And even if he tries asking these questions, like again, Erica can just move for a motion for protective order, and really what that does is it just says to the judge, hey, I don't want any discovery about this. And if he does it, well, we're going to have a right to bring sanctions. And then, can he even pay the sanctions? Probably not, because a lot of people that don't have money to pay these types of fees and stuff are going to run their mouth because they're judgment proof. You can't get any money from them anyway, even if you sue them. And so that's kind of the thing too. Like, does this guy have money? Probably not.
And that's a great question. So I have another question about this. So if I am being accused here, they're accusing Erica Kurt of being involved in the deletion, the murder of her husband. I don't would the carte blanche being able to see your bank account? I mean, again, it is in Maryland, so of course there's some complexities there.
That would be unbelievable. Like if Campbell tried to ask for bank records, I would tell him to go jump in a lake. It would be ridiculous to think he can get that. I would file a protective order for privacy, your financial information. I think you would win something of that nature. Now, again, I'm not a Maryland lawyer, so this is all going to be governed by Maryland discovery law, quite frankly. But yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is I can't, for example, could I just sue President Donald Trump in court and then suddenly demand his tax returns and financial records? No, it's not. I can't do that, and so he's going to be subject to those same laws with Erica Kirk. And so again, what I think this is he tries to say, yeah, we're going to get financial records, text messages. All this is to traffic views to his page. Because a lot of his viewers don't know what the law really is.
I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.